Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Hey traders, John Howell here. And in today's video, in this month's training, I want to share with you something that I think is really important to your success when you're getting involved with these markets and what you're doing through there. And I want to show you the real path of you getting ahead in the markets and what it really takes. So that the fluff and the feel is, and how you can truly go from where you are right now, maybe trading $1,000 a trade, to 5 years later becoming a multiple six-figure trader, and how you can grow that over time, but what you must be doing now in order for you to move forward. So this is all about the 10,000 foot view. Now, I must start off by saying this, is that the 10,000 foot view of your trading is simply this. The bullseye target there right now is all about what are you actually trading in the markets. Are you trading just willy-nilly, meaning you're getting in and, based on which probably most of you guys are right now, right? You're probably buying the Nasdaq right now because you think it's good, or you're shorting the markets right now because you think it's good, or whatever. That is the wrong thing to do. If you want to become part of the professional trading in these markets, the professional traders have one thing in common. They all stick to some plan, a plan, which means a setup. Make sense? So if you are not willing to stick to, say, a setup, then you're never going to be profitable long term in the markets. This is all about saying, okay, and this is all about getting the 10,000 foot view. You find one particular setup, and then you say, okay, on average per year, this has X amount of trades, and on average, here is the win-loss ratio. And then you calculate that, you're like, oh, this is what we're probably likely to make this year if I traded this one system, and I traded this amount of this amount of money per trade. But here is the hard thing for you. And let's actually continue here. Here is the hard thing for you. It takes time for you to get to that point of what I've just said there, because you're going to continue to try to get rich quick. You're going to continue to try to force it, rush it, push it, force it, rush it, push it, force it. Get into all this other stuff that meets no plan of whatever the plan you are choosing to trade. Just trade something that that has even a 70% win-loss ratio. Now, the way that I personally trade, I have an 80 to 90%. My A+, what I call my A+ trades, they're like 90+% success rate. And my B types of trades, they're probably at the 80% success rate. But what is it for you? And as I was saying on this screen here, that it does take time for you to get to that point. See, once again, I must say this very clearly. The reason why people do well out of these markets is because they have a plan and they stick at that plan. They have the same setup, the same risk management, and the same exit and profit targets, and again. That's the thing. And they don't let their emotions get involved with their trading at that time. And the reason why, but the people who don't do well, so the people who do well, they have a plan, they have all that sort of stuff in place. People who don't do well, don't do that. 1 minute they're trading 20% of their account, next minute they're trading 1% of their account, next minute they're trying this, make sure they're trying that, then they're trying to guess the market right instead of having a system in place, etc. So it takes you time to get through that to realize, hang on a minute, I have no consistency behind me, so if I want to be consistently long-term successful in the markets, then I must be consistent. So it takes you time to get that. But if you want to become part of the people who do a lot of these markets, then you must find a setup. It doesn't matter what setup it is, because there is no perfect system, and every single system has a win-loss ratio. So I want to give you a bit of a template here. And one of the biggest things that I think stops traders from making money in the markets is they think, I need a lot of trades every week to make a lot of money. And the opposite is true. And so what I mean by that is that if you're trading a lot in these markets, then you're going to be making a lot of mistakes. You're going to be getting in when you shouldn't, going to be getting out when you shouldn't, especially when you're just first starting out. So I recommend just finding one setup, that that you like, that you believe in, and then do some research around that to figure out, okay, how many trades on average per year? What is the average win-loss ratio? What is the average loss in the loss ratio, and the average profit in the win-loss ratio? So let's just say, for example, that I don't know, there's a couple of systems in the membership area, but let's just say you chose any system. Again, 90% of your success, or I say 95%, let's just say this is the success pile. This here is the trading system. You here being consistent at trading that system every day, this is where your success is going to be. And if you're not focusing on getting better here, then it doesn't matter what system you're trading. I can take a trader who's really consistent at trading a system that has like a 50-50 win-loss ratio, but with a really good profit to loss on that. I can take a trader who's really consistent trading a 50-50 win-loss ratio throughout the year and absolutely crush it and do really well, compared to someone that's not consistent with an absolute perfect system that almost every single time you get into a trade, it runs on. Now, what is the differences? One, because it's the consistency. And two, it doesn't matter what system you're trading at. The main thing is that whether you're consistently sticking at it. That's the 10,000 foot view here. This is your 95% success. And if you're watching this right now and you are not consistently following one thing to at least get you started, and then maybe after a while, if you get good at that, then maybe add another second pattern if you want to. But start with just one pattern. And again, most people believe that they need a lot of trades to do really well out of the markets here. So I want to give you a bit of a blank statement here of how you can do well throughout the year by not actually trading a lot, but having something here. Okay, so let's just say, for example, remember I said bullseye is about the trading setup you're after, and let's say, for example, you did that, and let's just say, for example, you were trading $2,000 a trade. I'm going to start off something small here, $2,000 a trade, but you were trading a setup that has a 70% win-loss ratio. That means every time you get into the trade, this trade could be part of the loss in the loss ratio or the win in the win-loss ratio. So every time you see this trade, you get up, you step up to the plate every single time, no matter what. Doesn't matter what you think, doesn't matter what you hope, doesn't matter what you're fearful of, you're going to have some losing trades. Don't pick and choose. When you see the setup, your job is just to take it, no matter what. And let's just say you're trading $2,000 a trade. Now, let's just say, for example, that $2,000 was within really good risk management within your trading plan. But say, for example, you found a setup that says, you know what, this setup happens probably around 40 times per year on average, and it has a 70% win-loss ratio. Let's say you found a setup that does that. Now, that 70% win-loss ratio, that simply means that sometimes you can have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 times in profits in a row. But that also means that you can now have 1, 2, maybe even 3 losses in a row as well too, with a 70% win-loss ratio. And you might say over 20 trades, you might have 3 losses, 6 wins, 1 loss, 4 wins, 2 losses. That's how trading works overall. And we just gotta not get involved with those statistics, because when you start to then pick and choose, Murphy Law says, okay, you now have a win-loss ratio, and then you start to try to be right with that trading system. You try to pick and choose, try to think which one's going to make a profit or how you feel. Who gives a shit about how you feel? It's about having a system and just following the system. Because if you start to pick and choose, I guarantee you the ones that you do think are going to make a profit, they make a loss. And the ones that you think are going to make a profit, things are going to make a profit, they're going to make a loss. And the one you don't think is going to make a loss, or the one you think is going to make a loss, they probably run on for a profit. And so this is where my trading totally just went through the roof when I just stopped trying to be right with the market. I stopped trying to guess if this one particular trade I'm getting into right now is a losing trade. I've accepted up front that I'm going to have some losing trades, but I don't know. And when I don't try to pick and choose and get involved with it, I was like, okay, here's my setup, I'm getting involved with it. Then my success just started going through the roof. So let's say, for example, you had a $2,000 per trade at a 70% win-loss ratio. That means you had 28 profits out of the 40 trades. Let's say, for example, over the whole year, right? This is you're now calculating what are you likely to make this year if you stuck to this one system 100% of the time and nothing else. Nothing else. None of this other garbage. And you did your calculations. You said, okay, average 40 trades per year. You traded $2,000 a trade. That means 28 were profits. And let's say, for example, you're trading options and the average profit was around 80%. Some of them are 150%. Some of them are 50% profits, but let's just say your rules of getting in and getting out of a blank of a rule. Say, for example, the average profit was 80% return. And let's just say, for example, as well, to your trading options, and let's say you were that therefore you had 12 losses here. Remember a 70% win-loss ratio out of 40 trades here. So that was 12 losses, and now let's say, for example, your average loss was 30%. Whenever your system said, okay, time to get out, your average loss was 30%. Now, sometimes you're going to get a 50% loss, sometimes a 20% loss, but the average is, say, 30%. With me so far? So if you're trying to plan out, okay, what am I likely to make this year? Now, it doesn't mean you're going to make that, but let's have a plan of, how do we set the game out to win this year? And so let's actually do the calculations here. Trading $2,000 a trade, 28 profits at 80%, that's $1,600 profit per trade. Okay, for the profits there. So that equals $44,800. Trading $2,000 a trade here. And the 12 losses at 30%, that's $600 loss per trade at 12 trades. That's a $7,200 loss. Now, $44,800 in profits, but then take away the losses, you're now left with $37,600. Maybe even call it $36,000, maybe even $35,000 for the year. Profits, trading one system, and that also include brokerage as well too. Now remember saying this is trading one system. This is when my trading truly started to explode, because I said, okay, on average, I'm going to get, especially with my trading system that gets like a 90+% success rate, I might only get a couple of dozen trades of those per year, maybe a couple of dozen only max. You know, I might only get maybe 10 or 12 trades per year, maybe, you know, a dozen. So, but I also do know that my A quality setups, that one with 90% success rate, a lot of those trades go absolutely through the roof. I'm in a trade right now with that, and I've been in it now for a couple of months, and it's about a 400% return. And so when you start to have losses of 30, 40, 50%, but then you start to have these profits of 400%. There's another trade that I got out of recently for 70% profit. There's another trade recently as well too that was like a 600% return. So these trades do come along, but because it's such a high win-loss ratio, there's not a lot of these trades, but the profit is enormous. But that's what gives me the confidence to go in and size in big. You know what I mean? But when you're just first starting out, this is what you do. You said, okay, here's the system. Here's what I'm likely to do this year based on past move forward there. And I also do know that I need to make sure that I have good risk management within these trades, which simply means that when you're trading, you know, you one loss is not going to wipe out 30% of your account or even 10% of your account. That's how you grow. That's how you grow your account there. So you're starting off with that. But let's just say, for example, then now you took that to $5,000 a trade. So let's just say, for example, now you've done all you've found a really good system. You've done your back testing and proper back testing. You found, okay, this is a 70% loss ratio. You started trading $2,000 a trade for the first year, and now you made, say, $30,000. But you see, you know what? Now I'm ready to take it to $5,000 a trade. I have, you know, $100,000 in my account. I'm now willing to do 5% of my account per trade, you know. Or you maybe have a $50,000 trading account, and you may be happy with, you know, 10% of your account being $5,000 a trade. Make sense? So now you have $5,000 a trade with a 70% success rate. Same numbers, 28% profits, 28 trades were profits at 80% return, and 12 were losses at 30% return. The 28 profits at 80%, now, because it's $5,000 a trade, that equals $4,000 profits. So we had 28 profits at 80%, which equals $4,000 a trade because we're trading $5,000 a trade. Now that equals $112,000 in profits. But we also had our losses here we need to account for. So we had 12 losses that year. So we had 40 trades, 28 profits, 12 losses at 30%. Because we're trading $1,500 a trade, 30% is $1,500. So that's $18,000 in losses that year. If we're looking back, okay, 40 years, we've had this amount of trades, so on and so forth. So if we look at this, that's $112,000 minus $18,000 equals $94,000, trading $5,000 a trade. Only trading 40 times a year. That means that you may have 4 trades in a week and maybe no trades for 3 weeks. That means you may have 15 trades in a month and maybe next month you might only have 2 trades. Do you see, like, that's, it averages out like that. It's not like 1 trade every week and that's what you can expect. That's never how trading works. If you have 40 trades, you may have 15 trades in 1 month and then have 2 months with no trades. That's how trading works. But at the end of the year, this is how it's possible to become almost a 7-figure trader with only trading, say, $5,000 a trade. But what's the key here? The key is what? Whether you're willing to say, okay, stick at this one thing long term. But let's just say, for example, now that's $5,000 a trade. Maybe that's your second year. Maybe now your third year, you're ready now to transition to $10,000 a trade. Well, $10,000 a trade, remember $5,000 a trade made you $94,000. Again, this is not including brokers, but I'm just using this as a guide to get you thinking, okay, this is how you make money long-term out of trading. Trading $10,000 per trade equals $188,000. If you're trading $20,000 a trade, now we're looking at $376,000 trading one system here. So this is the blueprint for you truly moving forward. The first thing is that the bullseye. What are you actually trading? Second thing is like, do you know what's the average? What's the win-loss ratio on average? That means that sometimes you're going to go through a period where you're going to have maybe 1 month you had a 50-50 win-loss ratio, but over a 6-month period, sometimes you're going to have an 80% win-loss ratio. So look at the average over, say, 12-month period. Then using your exit rules, and then once you start to set up that plan, no matter what plan you're using, then you say, okay, this moving forward this year, trading this much, I'm likely to make this much. But when you say that, there's no guarantees of making that, but because obviously, you need to stick to the system, but you need to make sure that when you're trading every time that you say, okay, I could have 1 or 2 losers in a row right now. So I need to be smart with my trading. And this is how it's possible for an average person or a person who can start with a $5 or $10 or $20,000 trading account and literally within 2 or 3 years become a 7-figure trader, because now after 1 or 2 or 3 years of trading one system, they're like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Then they start trading 2 systems. Before they know it, they got 40 or 100 trades per year. And before you know it, they're exploding $500,000, $1 million or more, trading $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 per trade. So this is your training that I wanted to give you. And I really hope you can see that if you are serious about this thing called trading, then this is the roadmap you need to follow. And it's 95% of your success comes with you, not with anyone else. If you cannot consistently follow one plan throughout the year, that on average is going to give you really good results, then at the end of the year, if you're not getting good results, it's only because what? It's not the trading system. It's you. If you're not following it, then it's not going to, you're not going to do well from there. So I hope this helped you out today, guys. Focus on moving forward in a way where, okay, are you following a system or are you just still guessing and hoping? And if you are guessing and hoping, then that's okay. Slap yourself around till you can't do that, because you're probably going to continue to lose money, and then follow the path. And again, I'm using a low number here, 70% win-loss ratio. When you start to get into 80s and 90%, like I'm trading, and then you start to do 20 or 40 or $50,000 a trade like I am, then you start to see some really exponential gains in the way you're trading there. So I hope this helped you out. Hope this helped you out, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.